Yo, hey guys. I thought I would do a very quick video about showcasing my Merc and which one I use now for my Viper Strike of the Mamba after I did the swap. I already used basically the same one before for Peacock as well. It's working very nice and I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe just only looking for the same guy with a few different skills maybe. But I can talk about that. So yeah, let's go right into it. I'm using, I don't know if the name is the same always, like the Rel Xefri, the Widow Touch Merc. That's fully int. Int means you can use int bases and hybrid int bases, which is basically all I want to use anyways. Weapon, since she is a caster and uses a staff, I'm using the Dying Breath. Especially the curse effect is very, very good with our high level Despair and Alchmark. So the effect on those two is very big. Yes, but also our effect for her own malevolence. Yes, then I'm using the Glimpse of Chaos Helm. With nearby enemies have malediction. You can use any helm, just needs to have the nearby enemies have malediction. If that's too expensive, a cheaper option is the Learcast. But 50% increased damage is good for Peacock, but not really that good for Mamba, since we already have a lot of ink damage from the low tolerances. So the malediction is a lot better. Malediction, if you don't know, it is 10% reduced damage dealt and 10% increased damage taken to nearby enemies. Yes, then for chest, I'm using the Cortex chest, Scour of the Ephemeral. Yeah, basically for action speed reduction, since I'm currently farming Sims, action speed reduction is very, very nice. Also for T17s is very nice. Nearby enemies cannot deal crit. Also very, very strong. Technically would allow you to even drop the crit reduction from the crit mastery. But I still like this because of ranged enemies. If you get crit off screen or something, it still helps with mitigation a bit. But for tight spaces or bosses, this is very, very good chest. Important thing for the chest, you have the recall button, the order to me. So whenever you get slowed since your Merc is like standing in China, you can just quickly press this and you immediately slow immune again. Yes, then I'm running 2 times Doider's Damning, just for 1 additional curse. Technically you only need 1 plus the Anoint, since the Anoint also works. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. It gives a lot of auras anyways, so it's fine. And then I'm using double corrupted gloves with temp chains on hit and enfeeble on hit. Temp chains technically is not needed because it's only poison duration, but for general gameplay feel and not having to reapply that often, it's pretty nice. Enfeeble on hit is level 1 enfeeble is roughly 10% less damage taken. Also very, very good for basically no investment. Belt, I'm using the Calm's Binding, of course. Fist Convert. This is not additive with this one. So this is happening before and then this is happening. So I think in total we don't have 75, but like 60 something percent conversion, which is still very good. 10% fist convert, always pretty much something you take. Yeah, and Amulet, Eternal Struggle for culling strikes, 15%, very good. Just make sure that the Searing Exarch mod is the dominant one, so you have the correct modifier. Yeah, for skills, whatever she does doesn't really matter. The Bane temp chains, technically this is better, or a lot better than the temp chains on hit from the gloves. But the application of Bane from her is a bit bad. She doesn't cast it too often, especially for packs, and I just wanted the consistency of the temp chains on hit. So yeah, I went with the on hit way. Greater soulrend is pretty nice for her to apply the temp chains. I saw that she can roll, I think, even return projectile for the soulrend. That's a bit better for coverage, but I did not find a better one than this one yet. Yeah, and last but not least, Malevolence is the big one. Yeah, double dips with Viper Strike, skill effect duration also gives poison duration, makes the build a bit more consistent. and dot multi is just very nice. If anyone is curious, I think the auras you get from the Merc are level 26, since it uses their level as the skill requirement. I tested it with the other Merc with Purity of Lightning, and it was at least a level 23 Purity of Lightning. So I think it uses a level 26 aura. So yeah, I think this is everything. If you have any more questions around the Merc, yeah, feel free to comment. Boots, certainly. Boots are just random ones with res. Basically, I threw 2 chaos on it. So yeah. Survivability. Survivability, she doesn't really die. She's not res capped at all. She gets a bit more res from my Purity of Elements whenever we're in a map or whatever. But she's not fully res capped, and she still doesn't pretty much ever die. She didn't die during the few Ubers I did. She didn't die during most of the CT17s I did. She died since I had her for like 3 days now. I think she died 3 or 4 times in total, so not really an issue, even without any survivability on gear. So yeah, that's my current setup. If you have any more questions, leave a comment. Other than that, see you in the next video. Goodbye.